Dear brothers and sisters, a loving Sairam to one and all. This year marks the Silver Jubilee of the divine premises of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center, Singapore. It is a privilege and honor to have a Satsang by Veda teacher and scholar Sri Vedanarayanan from Prasanthi Nilayam. Sri Vedanarayanan is a Sanskrit teacher and former student of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Vrindavan. In 1981, after securing his bachelor's degree in science from Swami's College, on Bhagwan's instructions, he completed his master's in philosophy from Bangalore University, securing the first rank with a gold medal for academic excellence. Later, he went on to complete his second master's in Sanskrit from Mysore University, securing the gold medal once again for academic excellence. In the year 2004, Sri Vedanarayanan received the National Award for Best Teachers from the then President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. For 2 consecutive years, he received personal letters of commendation from the then Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development, Ms. Smriti Zubin Irani, for the outstanding performance in Sanskrit of his 12th grade students. Despite these awards and achievements, Sri Vedanarayanan considers his greatest reward to be the opportunity to chant Vedic hymns in the presence of the very origin of Vedas, the Veda Purusha, our beloved Bhagwan himself. For the past 43 years, Sri Vedanarayanan has been participating in and leading the early morning Vedic invocations in the divine ashram of Prasanthi Nilayam. He has been leading the Vedic chants in the Sai Kunwant Hall during darshan time ever since Swami initiated this practice. He has had the unique advantage of serving both as a student and as a teacher in Swami's educational institutions. We've had the privilege of listening to Sri Vedanarayanan in person when he visited Singapore in 2013. He had also performed the Rudrabhishekam at our Sai Center here, beautifully explaining the literal and inner meanings of the ritual. Brothers and sisters, let us now welcome Brother Vedanarayanan from Prasanthi Nilayam.
Mukam karoti vachalam pankhum lankhayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande paramananda sayinam. My most prayerful salutations at the divine lotus feet of my Mother Sai. Respected office bearers of Sri Sathya Sai Organization, Singapore. Respected elders and dear sisters and brothers, Sairam to all of you. Greetings from Prasanthi Nilayam on the occasion of Ganesha Chaturthi, and also greetings to each and every one of you on the occasion of the Silver Jubilee celebration of Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center, Singapore. Ganesha Chaturthi is very, very dear to my heart because Swami had blessed me with unique chances. It was way back in 1976 that during the Ganesha Chaturthi time, Bhagavan was in Vrindavan, and on that particular day, Swami asked revered Brahmasri Kamavadhani Garu to perform the Ganesha Puja in the hostel. Swami had come and he was seated, and Kamavadhani Garu started his puja. Then Swami stopped him and asked, "Where is Lord Ganesha?" Of course, he was taken aback by the question. He didn't know what. Then Bhagavan waved his hands and created a beautiful silver Ganesha and handed over to him and said, "Now Ganesha has come, do the worship." The next question Swami asked, but his mother also should be there. So where is his mother? Again Swami waved his hand and Swami created Mother Parvati, again in silver, and handed over. And that became a very, very memorable. That was the first Ganesha Chaturthi I celebrated in the physical presence of Bhagavan. This is also another beautiful occasion. What I remember is Swami appointed me in the higher secondary school to teach Sanskrit on this very particular day. Probably some of you may know that Sanskrit is one subject I hated most in my life. And those days I did have Sanskrit in my school because my father wanted me to learn Sanskrit. And with his influence, he managed to get a Sanskrit teacher to the school where I was studying. But unfortunately for me, Sanskrit is really God's language. After all, I am a human being. So, I really could not cope up with the subject, and I really barely managed to pass in Sanskrit in my 10th class. I still remember after the examination, I came back home and told father, "Because of your force, I took this subject. Never again I am going to touch this subject." Well, probably Swami sat behind me and he would have had his laugh. So when I came here, after completing my master's in philosophy, Swami had asked me to teach for 1 year Vedas for all the children. After that, I was not teaching the Vedas. During that period of time, they required a Sanskrit teacher for Sri Sathya Sai Higher Secondary School. So when principal asked Swami that they need a Sanskrit teacher, Swami said that Vedanarayan is sitting there without any job, just take him. Then principal called me and told me, "Congratulations, that Swami is going to send you to us to take Sanskrit." I said, "What? Sanskrit?" I said, "Forget it. That is one subject I don't know anything about, and I really cannot teach Sanskrit." That is what I told principal. But before Swami could tell me, what I did was, I did write a letter to Bhagavan saying that, "Swami, it seems you had told our principal that you are going to send me to teach Sanskrit in higher secondary school. Swami, honestly, I don't know anything in Sanskrit. If you are very, very particular that I should teach Sanskrit, once you command, I cannot say no. So, but if you are very particular I should teach Sanskrit, give me only lower classes, because the CBSE syllabus was very, very high." So that is the letter I wrote, and Swami took the letter, and he did not tell me anything then. Almost 1 month passed and I was in bliss. I also thought that Swami had conveniently forgotten it. It so happened that one day after the interview, he came out of the interview room And our principal was sitting there with a file. He asked, "What's the matter?" He said, "Swami, we need a Sanskrit teacher." "I have already told. Where is he?" Swami looked around and he pointed at me and said, "Hey, come here," he said. So I slowly got up and went towards him. He said, "Hey, go and teach Sanskrit." Before I could even utter one word in protest, he said, "Take Pada Namaskar. Take my Pada Namaskar." So I took Swami's Pada Namaskar, and Bhagavan said, then I asked, Swami himself said, "Start with lower classes." This is the instruction he gave me. Start with lower classes. Then I asked Bhagavan, when I should go and join. Then Swami thought for a while and said, "Join on Ganesha Chaturthi day." That is why Ganesha Chaturthi is so very dear to me. Swami said, Ganesha Chaturthi day, but there was a problem. As you all know, Ganesha Chaturthi is a national festival in India and it is a national holiday. How can I join on a national holiday? So I went and told principal that Swami has asked me to join here on the Ganesha Chaturthi day, and principal said, "No problem. I will call all the students to the school that day and you can start your classes." So after the morning darshan in the mandir, I asked Swami's permission. Swami gave me Pada Namaskar. He blessed me and said, "Go and teach." And that day, for all the children, I started with Gananam Tvam. That is the only Sanskrit that I knew. And believe me, from that very day till this day, whatever I used to read in Sanskrit, I used to understand just like that. I can understand all the grammar points. I could understand all the Sandhi rules, everything. That is Guru Kripa. Once Bhagavan bless you, there is no looking back. That is why Swami says, "I am not looking at your ability. I want your availability. If the availability is there, I will give you the ability." So that is what more important. So Ganesha Chaturthi is always very, very dear to me. And another incident, what had happened was, when initially, after completing my master's in philosophy, when I had come, that is the first time Swami commanded me, go and teach Vedas for all the children in the higher secondary school. Till then, only those children who were interested in Vedas, they alone used to learn the Vedas, very handful. This is the first time Swami has commanded me to teach en masse Vedam for the entire school. And all the children, they have learned very nicely. And it was on another Ganesha Chaturthi day, they had the good fortune of chanting in front of Bhagavan. Swami was in bliss, and once they had completed the chanting, Swami came and told me, they chanted very nicely. What more I want in my life? To get a smile of Bhagavan, that is all. My whole life's purpose is fulfilled. So, as I was mentioning to you, Ganesha Chaturthi has always, and it will give me always beautiful recollections of things. Now, 25 years in Singapore, you have been doing the sadhana. It is very, very unique. You people are so fortunate because in the Ramavatara, if you have gone through the entire Ramayana, nowhere it is mentioned that during the period of Lord Rama, there was a temple consecrated to Lord Rama. Nowhere. Neither in Krishna Avatara, if you take the entire Bhagavatam, nowhere it is mentioned that Krishna is worshipped in a temple. But only in this Kali age, only when Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba was walking on this earth, at that time, many temples for Swami was built. And Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center, Singapore, is one such lucky place where with the blessings of Bhagavan, this temple could be built there. And last 25 years you have been doing service to humanity. Service to humanity is service to God. Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. But remember that this temple outside, it is only a reflection of our own temple which we carry at all time. Why I say that? I remember that almost like 40-45 years back, I had come here with my parents. At that time, my father was the chairman of Sri Sathya Sai Society back in Kerala, and he had lot of issues to deal with. So when mainly to ask Swami how to go about with it, he had no clue. That is why we had made a trip to Puttaparthi. Swami, out of his infinite compassion, he called us for an interview. And before father could say, Swami, Bhajan Mandir, Swami stopped him. And you know what Swami did? Swami took his right hand and rubbed it on his chest and say, this is the mandir I am concerned with. This is the only mandir that I need. I don't require any other mandir. That is why I was there to say that the external mandir that which you have built, it is only a reflection of our own body. Deho devalaya prokto jivo deva sanatanaha tyajet ajnana nirmalyam soham bhavena pujayet. Deho devalaya proktaha. This body is said to be a temple. The body is said to be the moving temple of God. Jivo devaha sanatanaha. Sanatanaha devaha jivaha. In fact, the life force is the deity who is installed in this very temple. That is why we say that when the Chaitanya Shakti, when God is installed, the Jiva is installed in this body, we become Shiva Swarupa. We become the conscious form. And when the Jiva goes out of this body, this Shiva principle is turned into Shava, the inert body. So, the Lord resides very much within ourselves. So, We keep searching for God here, there, everywhere, without knowing that Lord is very much present within ourselves. So when we say service to man is service to God, whom are you serving? You say that I did Narayana Seva for so many people. Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. Remember that Madhava does not require any of your service. If we are doing service, it is for ourselves. When we are serving others, we think that, oh, I am the doer and here is some person whom I am serving. You are totally mistaken. First of all, suppose that person refuses your service, what are you going to do? So, it is a question of, there is no question of your master and servant relation. If somebody is accepting your service, be thankful to him that he is accepting your service. So, if you are serving others, it is for your own upliftment and through which your ego can be brought down. That is why Seva Bhava has got greatest importance. So it is very, very necessary that if we are doing the service, it is a form of worship and it is to uplift oneself. In another place, Bhagavan was there to say, Daya kalikina hridayame deiva mandiramu. A heart with compassion is the temple of God. What is the use of doing service without any feeling? Bhagavan often says, duty without love is deplorable. I am doing my duty, I have to do this. Yes, but what is the use if there is no love involved? You mechanically do. Like a machinery, you keep doing the service. What's the point? Duty with love is desirable, Bhagavan says. If you have little love also with the duty what you are performing, it is definitely desirable, Swami says, and that is not the ultimate. But the third one, what Bhagavan says, love, love, love without duty, that is divine. There is nothing preventing Swami that he should come and talk to us or he should give us interview, everything. Nothing. But he comes out of love and he blesses all. So selflessly. That is really divine. So, it is very, very essential that we have to do the service thinking that it is for the upliftment of ourselves. And beautifully, the stanza is not completed when it says, Deho Devalaya Prokto Jivo Deva Sanatanaha. Yes, the Lord is very much established inside. Then how to worship that Lord? Tyajed Ajnana Nirmalyam Soham Bhavena Pujayed. Tyajed Ajnana Nirmalyam. What do you understand by that? Nirmalyam. Nirmalyam is something which is left on the Lord, which has been the old ones. So we have to remove the old things. Then only, after cleaning up, then only you should worship the Lord. And what is that you need to clean up? The thing what you need to clean up is Ajnanam, ignorance. Now, how to clear this ignorance? How can we clear this ignorance? Another place Bhagavan beautifully says, how to clear your ignorance. Tyaja durjana samsargam bhaja sadhu samagamam kuru punyamahoratram smara nityam anityatam, he says. Tyaja durjana samsargam. Run away from the bad company. Run away from the bad company. Not only that, bhaja sadhu samagamam. Wherever there is congregation of good people, bhaja, you go and join them. Why it is necessary to run away from the bad company? If you are in the bad company, your value also will be reduced to nothing. Swami gives a beautiful example. Suppose there is 10 liters of water and you add 1 liter of milk into it. What happens? Before that 1 liter of milk had at least some value, after adding into the water, you will not get any price for that. Whatever the price it had, that also has been lost by adding them into the water. Why? The company matters. Whereas, suppose there is 10 liters of milk and you add 1 liter of water into it. Remember that because the 10 liters of milk, even the water, it attains the quality of the milk and even it gets the price of the milk. So it is very, very important that what type of company we keep. If we are keeping the company of the noble souls, even our value will go up. Instead, we are in the bad company, we lose our value. That is why Bhagavan so beautifully he says, dust joining with the wind, it goes up in the sky. The same wind, by joining with the water drops of the rain, it comes down. Neither the dust have wings to fly up in the sky, nor does it have legs to come down. It is the company that matters. So, Bhagavan gives so much of stress upon what type of company that we keep. That is why bhaja sadhu samagamam, satsangati. Generally, we all understand satsangati means good company we say. So, going to a bhajan, we say it's a satsangati. In fact, Bhagavan has got a different definition of satsanga itself. Sat is the truth, that which is existing within you, God. Sangati, company of the God is the true satsanga. Company of the God, not the going for even for bhajan and all. Swami, no, he says, having the company of the God, that is the true satsanga. So, bhaja sadhu samagamam. Then, what is required? Kuru punyam ahoratram. Do merit day and night. You have to do lot of merit. That means what? You should be away from doing the sin. But we always want the fruits of merit, but we are not prepared to do meritorial deeds. Punyasya bhalamicchandi punyam nechchandi manavaha na papa bhalamichanti papam kurvanti yaknataha. Bhagavan says, punyasya bhalamichanti. You want the fruits of all meritorial deeds. Punyam nechandi. He doesn't want to perform any meritorial deed. He wants the fruits of that. Napapa bhalamichanti. He doesn't want the fruit of any of the sins that he commits. Papam kurvanti yaknataha. With great effort he will be doing sin. But he doesn't want the fruit of that. How can it be possible? There is a beautiful story in Kathopanishad where Nachiketa's father, he is doing a great yajna wherein which he is giving away the cows, Godana, which is considered as one of the superior dana by which you can secure a place in heaven. So, he has got great aspiration to go to heaven, and for that he is doing the charity. But like the typical man of today, he was there to collect all the old cows which can be bought with less money. The cows which are almost very old, decrepit. The cows which cannot yield even one drop of milk. And such cows somehow he managed to gather from everywhere, and he is doing the dana, the charity. Why? Because he is sure of going to the heaven. Now, the little Nachiketa, he is watching what the father is doing. In fact, such dana becomes a burden to the people who are getting those. Suppose I have been given a cow which is very old that it cannot. I only have to look after the cow. It becomes a burden for me. Additional responsibility. Nothing more than that. So even little Nachiketa could understand that what his father is doing is absolutely wrong. And he questions him and says, Father, what is that you are doing? Do you think by this type of charity that you are going to go to heaven? And father gets very angry with him. After all, he is a small child, and how can he questions for whatever he is doing? He is not agreeable because he knew that by doing Godana, his place in heaven is secured. But can it really his place be secured in heaven? God always looked to your attitude with which you do the dana rather than the dana itself. He is not enamored by your quantity. He is only looks to the quality of the dana that you do. I am reminded of another story here. Once there was a beggar who went to a particular house and he was begging, Amma, please give me something, please give me food, I am hungry. And the mother of the house called out the little child in the house and said, Dear one, can you take a handful of rice and please hand over to the beggar who is asking for food? So, this little child, of course, went inside and got the food. The neighboring lady, she was always listening, what is happening? No, we are more worried about our neighbors rather than what happens in our own house. We are always interested to know. We are curious to know what X is there, what Y is doing. We are forgetting. We want all the news from everywhere, but you don't realize it is a real nuisance. Anyway, this particular neighboring lady, she is very curious and thinking, look how clever that neighbor of mine. Look at that lady. See, she doesn't want to give a handful of rice to the beggar because her hands are big. So she is asking her son to do the charity because his hands are small, so much of rice can be saved. I will also do the same thing. I will do better. So when the beggar came to her door and asked, Amma, give me food, she called out to her son and said, Hey, Go, get some rice and give it to that beggar. And of course, days passed, months passed, and both these people, they died, and the lady, the neighboring lady, for this good karma of hers, she went to heaven, whereas the other lady was made to go to hell. So, being of a fighting nature, she complained to God, God, you are a very unjust God. Why? For the same thing, I have also done the same dana, the same charity, and the other lady also, she has also done the same charity. You are sending her because we only ordered, the actual charity was done by the children. But you send her to heaven and me to hell. How can you justify this? God smiled and said, I don't look at what you do. I always look at with what attitude you do. The lady told her little child to go and give handful of rice to inculcate the value of charity in that little mind. Whereas you instructed your child to go and do the charity so that you can save some grains. So God always looked to your motive behind the action rather than the action itself. So it is very, very necessary for us to know that whatever we do, we have to do meritorious deeds. There was one incident which I am reminded here, which was narrated to us by revered Geetharam Garu. Once she was mentioning, Swami had called a group of people for interview, and during the interview time, there was one lady who will often tell Swami, Swami, you should come to our place. You should come to our place. See, Swami is talking seriously about some topic, and now and then she will find her way and say, Swami, you should come to our place. This was becoming a constant distraction for others also. After some time, Swami turned to her and said, what is so great that I should come to your place? Tell me what you are doing. Swami, we do Annadanam. Oh, really? Okay. How do you do Annadanam? Swami, we collect rice from so many houses and then we go and ultimately do the Annadanam. Oh, really good. So, when people give rice, what type of rice they give? Good quality rice or bad quality rice? Swami, each one gives depending upon no particular standard. Each one gives depending upon whatever the quality they have. All right, but what quality rice that you give? She said, very good quality, Swami. Very good quality rice I give. Swami just stared at her and said, yes, very good quality rice for your household people. And for the Narayana Seva, it is 2 rupees rice. She said, no, Swami, I always give very good rice. At this point, Swami's expression changed. It seems Swami got up from the interview room. He went to the next room, got a small bundle and came out. He opened up and showed to her and said, as a small boy, I came and begged in front of your door saying, Amma, give me food. This is the rice you have handed over to me. Look at this, full of stones, full of stones. And if, just imagine, if people were to have such food, first of all, they are poor, they have no money. Where they will have money to go to the hospital and get treatment done? After that, that lady was quiet. It is absolutely necessary. It is not the quantity that is important. Swami always look for the quality. It is always better, whatever we do, even small thing, do with love, utmost love, and pray to God, Lord, this is the only thing I can do. So, Kuru Punya Mahoratram, always perform the meritorial deeds. Then Smara Nityam Anityatam, always constantly think what is permanent and what is temporary. It is very, very essential that today man, he has become so selfish. In fact, he has become so knowledgeable. He goes his entire life, he spends in going to the universities, acquiring degrees and earning lot of wealth, which is permanently kept in the bank. Now and then he will have the Sravana Sukham. He will never enjoy it. He will keep it permanently like that. And one day he will die and somebody else, they also won't enjoy. Life goes on like that. So, man is the only animal, sorry to say that, who always aspires for accumulation and accumulation for tomorrow. No animals, no birds, they don't have any bank account, they don't have any future plan. Morning beautifully they get up, go wherever they find food, they eat, they are happy with their family. That's it. They don't go to any university. They are more happier than the human beings. With all the degrees we spend, in fact, 3/4 of our life we keep spending on cramming up all unwanted knowledge. And what is the use? Is it useful to anyone? It is not useful to himself. Just imagine when animals and birds, they have such understanding, even there may be lion, there are small birds are there, they are not afraid of lion. But if a human being goes there, even the lion is afraid, even the birds are afraid. None of the birds or animals will be anywhere near there. Why? They don't trust human beings. And this is the human who is the crown of creation. Nobody trusts us. They all run away from wherever we go. And what is that man achieved? Man has learned how to fly like a kite in the sky. He has also learned how to swim like a fish in the water. But unfortunately, he has not learned how to live like a human being on earth. Rest everything else he has learned. He has reached even the moon, but he has never bothered to look within himself even half an inch. That is the tragedy of human species. We keep acquiring things and we become so egoistic. When you are egoistic, I think that is the most dangerous trend anybody can have in them. This ego is something, there is absolutely no remedy for that. When you think that you know everything, you know better than other, that is the hallmark of your downfall. I am reminded of one funny incident which happened. It was during the summer course time, and Bhagavan was giving discourses after discourses on Brahma Sutras. Swami was quoting Sanskrit profusely and Vedic injunctions. Swami so beautifully and lucidly, the Swami's ways. And wonderful discourses Swami was having during the summer course in Vrindavan. Dr. Bhagavantam, who is to translate Bhagavan's discourses, he had a doubt in his mind. See, after all, Swami has studied only till 8th class and is quoting all these Sanskrit sentences. Does it really there in the scriptures? Or Swami is just making up something? He had that doubt. So he went and asked revered Kamavadhani Garu, who was, of course, he was a great Vedic doyen. He went and asked, see, Swami is quoting so many things from the Vedas. All these things, are they really there in the Vedas, or Swami is just simply quoting? Kamavadhani Garu was stunned. He says, what are you talking? Every sentence what Bhagavan is uttering is very much there in the Vedas. Every word of it. And in fact, all the teachings of Swami, if you actually see, the love or serve all, whatever is there, it is the practical lessons of Vedic teachings. So this is a casual conversation they both had and nobody else knew it. That day evening, Bhagavan started his discourse. And you know that Swami always starts with a Telugu poem. Usually the whole poem will be in Telugu. In the fourth line, the last line, actually the sentence should be Kari mingina veluga panduvale. Kari mingina, that is, Kari is elephant, mingina, swallowed, veluga pandu. Veluga pandu is wood apple. Some of you may know, you may not know that. See, elephant has got a capacity. It can eat a wood apple. It can just swallow it like that. And after digesting, it can also, the whole wood apple will come out through the excreta. And you will see the shell totally intact. See, the wood apple, it has got a shell. It is totally intact. So you may think that the fruit has come out just like that. But if you break open and see the inside content, there will be nothing because elephant would have digested it. So that is the capacity of an elephant. It can swallow a wood apple and without, it can also throw the shell out without breaking it, but all the content will be digested. So Swami was trying to point out this particular principle Swami wanted to insist upon. That is why he, instead of but telling in Telugu, Swami said, Dvipa bhukta kapitta bhalamu vale, he said. Suddenly, Dr. Bhagavantam was silent. Swami said, Chappu, translate. Swami again repeated, Dvipa bhukta kapitta bhalamu vale, he said. Again he looked at Swami. Swami said, Sai Gita. Dr. Bhagavantam started thinking what Sai Gita has to do with all these things. But Swami did not wait for another explaining. Swami continued his discourse. And once the discourse is over, Swami goes back to the old Vrindavan. It was not Tri Vrindavan. Those time it was the old Vrindavan. So whenever Swami used to go to come back to Vrindavan, we all used to run from there. Do you know? Because it is like a grand dinner for us, Swami's discourse in the auditorium, college auditorium. And once that grand dinner is over, the dessert part, we will get it back in the mandir here. You know, after coming back, Swami will start explaining to all the minute points of his discourse with some of the elderly devotees. Standing totally, mind you. The Swami won't even sit. Swami will stand. See, that is the enthusiasm he had in teaching each and every one of us to follow the right principle. the entire life of his. Just imagine how many thousands of discourses he has given, so that he has not given up hope on us. Whether we have changed or not, but Bhagavan has never given up his hope on us. So Swami used to further, he used to explain. I remember some of the elders who used to be there, like Nakul Sen, Chella Subbarayadu, even Joga Rao, Kalna Joga Rao, all these elders used to be there, and Swami used to beautifully, Swami used to explain. So that particular day, Swami asked Bhagavantam, "What Bhagavantam? Neither I know Vedas, nor you know Sanskrit." So still Bhagavantam did not understand. Swami, what? Swami knows all the Vedas. But of course, Swami, my Sanskrit. You went and asked Kamavdani, no? Just imagine, they only had a small conversation. You went and asked Kamavdani, no, whether whatever I am quoting is there in the Vedas. And you could not even translate a simple Sanskrit sentence, Dvipa Bhukta Kapitta Bhalamuvale. Swami said Dvipa. An elephant is called Dvipa because it drinks twice. First, it takes it in its trunk, then it puts it in its mouth. So it is drinking twice. So it makes use of its trunk as a straw, more like. So Dvipa, an elephant is called Dvipa, Bhukta, eaten. Kapitta Bhalam is the terminology used for wood apple. Lord Ganesha liked this very much actually. Kapitta Jambu Bhala Sarabhakshitam. See, there also it is beautifully in that, even in the Kapitta Jambu Bhala Sarabhakshitam. He is not eating, it is only the essence the Lord is consuming. See, there also, I casually remembered that sentence. There also, it is mentioned that it is the essence of the wood apple is being digested by the elephant. Well, so this is how, when we have the ego or doubt, Bhagavan will simply bring us down. But there is only one way. That is what is surrender. Surrender to the supreme will of Bhagavan. There is another similar incident what happened. One day Swami was giving a series of discourses here in Prasanthi Nilayam. And that particular day, of course, Swami usually goes around 4:30. Swami was, during that period of time, Swami was staying in the backside of the Purnachandra auditorium. And it looked like Swami was waiting for someone. So suddenly, one of the boy who is to do duty inside, he finished his university work and he has just come inside. And Swami looked at him and said, "Ah, you have come." And Swami said, "See, today evening there is no one is there to speak." He was mentioning some names. I was asking him, he says, "I cannot do it." Somebody said, "My throat is not all right." Somebody said, "He has got meeting." Nobody is there. "So why don't you come and speak?" And Swami said that. Swami did not wait for a reply and Swami just walked off. See, remember that the moment Swami walks out of the Purnachandra auditorium and he goes directly onto the stage, and the moment Swami goes onto the stage, the invocation by the children will start, and immediately after the invocation is over, introduction of the speaker will be done. See, this much time only is there. Swami has told, you speak. Just imagine this boy, he has just come from the university. He put all his things there. Just washed his face, changed his dress, combed and just took his, where is the time? By the time already the invocation has already started there. So he literally ran from the Purnachandra auditorium to the mandir. And Now the invocation is over. The person who was supposed to introduce the speaker, he went to Swami and asked, Swami, who is the speaker today? Then Swami smiled and told him, if so and so comes, then let him speak. Now, just imagine this man's plight. He has to introduce a speaker. If so and so comes, let him speak. Now, this is a big challenge. So, initially, of course, before introducing a speaker, there will be the person who introduces. He himself will extempore, he will make few sentences to speak. In the meanwhile, whom Swami mentioned, that boy came and sat, and he left a huge relief, because at least now he can introduce somebody. See, sometimes no, Swami just test you. Otherwise, you have to introduce someone, but you don't know whom you are supposed to introduce. So after the introduction is over, of course, this boy spoke extremely well. There was thunderous applause, everything went off very well. Then after the Swami's discourse, when Swami came back to Purnachandra auditorium, this boy was there. Swami, it was totally unfair on your part to tell me in such short time that I should speak. That also such a huge gathering. You know what Swami said? Unless I have the confidence in you, unless I knew that you have the ability, I will not give you any work. I know that you can do it. That is why I asked you to do it. And it is also a test of your faith, that you know that you have not prepared anything, and Swami only has to come to your rescue. And this is how Bhagavan can show you that Swami is the one who is doing everything and not you. I am still reminded of another incident. Once in the similar situation only, Swami called brother Vinay Kumar and told him, today you speak. And he was totally taken aback. Swami, me? I have not prepared anything. Don't worry. You just go and stand there. You move your lips and I will speak through you. So it is Swami's command. So he took Pada Namaskar. He went and stood there. And of course, he gave a fantastic, beautiful speech. And there was thunderous applause. After the speech is over, he came and took Pada Namaskar. Then Swami whispered to him, I spoke and you got all the applause. So this is what our beautiful Lord is. So what is required is complete surrender. Surrender to the Lord. And when you talk about the surrender, surrender is of two types. What are they? Markada Kishora Nyaya and Marjara Kishora Nyaya. What do you understand by Markada Kishora Nyaya? Markada means monkey. Kishora means little child. Nyaya. The little monkey, it always holds on to the mother. And mother whenever she goes anywhere, the child will be always with the mother, holding on to the mother. But when the monkey jumps from one place to another place, this little monkey has to make sure that he holds on to mother very, very tightly. Otherwise, he will fall. Monkey will not take up any responsibility, the mother monkey. But the child has to have all the responsibility holding on to the mother. Whereas Marjara means kitten. Marjara Kishoranyaya means the little kitten, it doesn't have a strength of its own. It will keep mewing all the time. And the mother will come and give the milk. Whenever mother feels that the little one has to be shifted from one place to another place, it will gently hold on to its neck and will take it from one place to another place. So these are the two types of surrender what Bhagavan says. In one, there is a chance that there is a slight ego that is involved, that I am surrendering, I am surrendering. Whereas the other one, it is total helplessness. Swami, I have none other than you. Whatever you do, you can do anything and I am prepared for that. That type of surrender. Swami gives the example of Hanuman. When Hanuman when he went to fight with the initial stage, when he went to the Ashokavana, and you know that he destroyed the whole Ashokavana, and he was captured by Ravana's son, and he was brought to the court. So, because there now the whole body of Hanuman is being tied, and so he is standing in front of Ravana like that. Now, for Hanuman to escape, there are two ways. What is the first way? Is to just to make his body grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and all the knots will break once for all. All the other chance is what? He has to reduce his body smaller and smaller and smaller. All the knots will become loose, then also he can escape. So, the first is making his body huge. And how is that? Soham, soham, soham. Okay? He, God, I am, God, I am, God, I am. Thinking that when you start growing, that surrender, there it is little bit of ego is involved. Whereas, if you want to make his body smaller, dasoham, dasoham, dasoham. I am the servant, I am the servant. So, these are the two types of surrender that one has to follow. So, it is very, very, very essential that we have to surrender completely to the Lord without any thought of this or that, so that is the only way by which we'll get rid of our all the pain and suffering. The only way we can surrender to the Lord, again, what is the way? So it has been said, Smara Nityam Anityatam. And the same sentence you see there. Deho Devalaya Prokto Jivo Deva Sanatanaha Tyajed Ajnana Nirmalyam. Smara Nityam Anityatam. When you have jnana, then ajnana can be destroyed. Then Tyajed Ajnana Nirmalyam Soham Bhavena Pujayed. Soham Bhavena Pujayed. That is the surrender. Surrendering to the Lord who is within us. We should worship the Lord in this way. Whatever thoughts we get, the noble thoughts, always pray to the Lord who is within to guide you on the right direction. That is how our life can be successful. In this Kali age, the easiest path what Bhagavan has given us is the Namasmarana. Namasmarana is the path. There is no expenditure for this. There is no time fixed for this. Sarvada sarvakaleshu sarvatra sai chintanam. At all point of time, you only have to remember Lord Sai. There is absolutely, you don't have to spend any money for that. But even that people find it difficult. Just to remember the Lord. Whenever we are in a problem, we always try to do it by our own strength. Let me try to solve it this way, or let me try to call on to my friend. When Bhagavan is waiting to help you, we will not call on to him. We are ready to do anything else. But the only way Bhagavan always wait. At least will he not remember me even once? Bhagavan will be always waiting when my devotee will call on to me. In this Kali age, Namasmarana is the easiest path. In Krita, you had meditation, and Treta, you have the yagas. All the different ages, there were various forms of worship. Whereas in the Kali age, which is the easiest form of worship, is Namasmarana. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam, kalau nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gadiranyatha. In this age of Kali, it is the name of Lord alone we should take refuge at the feet, or we should take refuge to chanting God's name. That alone is going to save us from this ocean of samsara. Whenever you have time, there is no question of we have to make time. We'll say, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. Always remember that you don't have to have special time. Once a very funny thing happened. Swami was saying that Swami, once in the interview room, Swami was saying, no, you should always think God. See, whatever I have been talking, these are all said by Bhagavan. There is no personal this thing of my own. So I said, Swami, if I am always thinking of you only all the time, how am I going to go and teach the children? Do you know, Swami said, you are mistaken. Even going and teaching the children, think that it is my work. It is my work. It is only a transformation of your ideas. Instead of thinking that I am going to go prepare for the class, whenever you prepare for the class, think that you are preparing that for me. When you are going and teaching the children, think that you are teaching the children for the sake of me. Only a change of thought, that is all required. Nothing more is required. When you change your thoughts like that, ordinary karma will be transformed into karma yoga. Ordinary karma. So karma yoga is not something only spiritual activities. Even very ordinary karmas can be elevated to karma yoga. When you get up in the morning, when you brush your teeth, feel that you are brushing Swami's teeth. When you take bath, feel that you are giving abhishekam to the Lord. See, an ordinary thing like bath, which we spend hours together, the moment we change the thought that we are giving abhishekam to the Lord, you don't have to do special worship going and sitting inside a puja room. It is only for limited time. Swami used to say, you always have, Swami used to say, part-time devotion ra. Nikanda part-time devotion. Part-time devotion, you won't get full salary. Only for full-time job, you will get all the benefits. You will get full salary, you will get the stipend, everything you will get only if you have full-time job. For part-time, you will not get any of those things. Just ask, what is that, Swami? What you do after bath, you go and sit inside the puja room, you keep looking at your watch, it is already time, I have to rush, and you will be in seconds, you will finish the puja, get up and run. That is part-time, ra. And I have to wait for you till the next day you come and sit there. In between, you will never remember me. You are busy with that work, this work, that work. Then, what is the full-time devotion? Sarvatra sada sarvakaleshu sai chintanam. Whatever you do, when you are getting up in the morning, get up along with the Lord. When you brush your teeth, feel that you are brushing Swami's teeth. When you are taking bath, feel that you are giving abhishekam to the Lord. When you dress up yourself, hours together we spend in front of the mirror thinking that you are the most beautiful person on the earth and nobody else is there. Think that, look at Swami's face instead of your face. And even if you spend hours for that, nothing wrong because you are adorning the Lord. A change of thought. When you are going to the office, take him along with you. When you are taking a decision, Swami is the right decision to do. When you are eating food, feed him literally. You will never complain, salt is not there, this is not good, I don't like that. Because you have no right to complain, you are not eating, you are feeding the Lord. Or when you are coming back and watching the TV, tell Swami, Swami, some nice program is there, you also watch. Whatever work you do, there is no question of this work or that work. Small ordinary work is elevated to a yoga. Karma is transformed into karma yoga when we associate it with God. So that is what which is required by all of us. This is the simple thing which Bhagavan himself has given us. Spirituality is not something which we have to close our nose, stand upside down, walk upside down. No, nothing. It is living in the society in a dharmic way, helping others and seeing oneself in others. When you start seeing yourself in others, there is no difference. When I find a difference between me and my colleague, I say, oh, he is much better than me, he is getting... Why? When there is absolutely no difference between, I don't see anybody, I can see only Swami in him. Why I should compare? That Swami in you and Swami in me is one and the same thing. Why I should compete with you? For what? Why I should get upset with you? For what? So, when we, of course, the mind is, be very, very careful. Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. This mind of yours, it can really play fool with you. Mind can literally drag you to wherever it wants. At that time, you have to tell the mind, my dear mind, enough. Okay, let me take the decision. You calm down for some time. I am the master and you are not the master. Once we asked Swami, Swami, how to control this mind? Swami said, simple. Swami said, the mind is like a little child. You know what the little child will do? He will start running and running. And a clever mother, what she should do? She should not run behind the child. Because the child is too fast and mother cannot catch the child. So, it can run onto the road and get into an accident. So, a clever mother, what she should do, if the child is running, just turn her back and say that, go wherever you want, I am not going to care. And if she turn her back from the child and if it doesn't bother, the child will run for some time and look back. Mother is not coming, the child will run back to the mother. So, also is your mind. The moment you start running behind the mind, you cannot catch it. So, instead of that, what you should do, the mind is running. Mind, wherever you want, you go. I have given you the freedom, you go. After some time, you will find that the mind is very much within you. Swami says, Swami, once you asked, Swami, we get very bad thoughts, many bad thoughts, what to do? Swami says, as long as the bad thoughts are in thought form, there is nothing wrong. They are passing clouds. They will come and go. They will come and go. But the moment you decide to follow that thought, there comes the sin. So don't allow your body to follow the bad thought you get. As far as it's bad thoughts, it will come and go. Don't get perturbed. It will go away. So be happy. So, dear brothers and sisters, now you are celebrating the 25 years of service to humanity. You are all so blessed. You are all so blessed, I say, because you are all the devotees of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I have to tell this because the avatar has come and only few of us, we had the great good fortune that we felt that, I will not say that we are devotees, at least no, we had the good sadbuddhi that we have to follow the footstep of our Lord. We are so very, very blessed. And greetings again to all of you. I pray to Bhagavan to bless each one of you so that with health and happiness and prosperity, each one of you with no deficiency in your life, may you all think of Bhagavan at all time. Samasta lokaha sukhino bhavantu. Jai Sai Ram. Thank you so much for your patience. Sai Ram.
Thank you, brother, for the inspiring session, the meaningful insights, and for connecting us so beautifully with our beloved Swami through your experiences and learnings. Thank you so much once again. Dear brothers and sisters, this was the first in a 3-part series of Saturday Satsangs in celebration of the Silver Jubilee of our Sai Center premises. Next Saturday, we can look forward to a satsang with none other than the legendary bhajan singer Sri Ravi Kumar from Prasanthi Nilayam. This is on the 18th of September from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. On the following Saturday, which is the 25th of September, from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we will be listening to our loving sister Srimati Geeta Mohan Ram from the USA. All programs will be streamed from the YouTube channel of Sri Sathya Sai Society, Singapore. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Sathya Sai Hare Bhakta Jana Samrakshak Bhakta Jana Samrakshak Pati Maheshwara Om Jai Jagadish Hare Shashi Vadana Shri Kara Sarva Pranapate Swami Sarva Pranapate Ashrita Kalpalatika Ashrita Kalpalatika Apad Badhava Om Jai Jagadish Hare Mata Pita Guru Devamu Mariyantayuneve Swami Mariyantayuneve Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nagendra Shayana Om Jai Jagadish Hare Omkara Rupa Ojasvi O Sai Mahadeva Sathya Sai Mahadeva Mangala Arati Anduku Mangala Arati Anduku Mandara Giridhari Om Jai Jagadish Hare Narayana Narayana Om Sathya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Sathya Narayana Narayana Om Sathya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की